tell me a little bit about the story that you told us when you first came in about how important Luke Cage is to you personally.
Well, the thing is that, as we well know, there aren't a lot of African-American superheroes. And I've been reading comics, since I've been 8, 9 years old. And Luke Cage stood out. I mean, not just because he was black, but also because he was funny, he was interesting, he was strong. And I always felt a personal connection to the character. So, of course, when I heard that, Marvel and Netflix are doing a show, I put myself up for it and was lucky enough to get a meeting with Jeff, and, the rest is history. But that's the thing. It's like, even now, even though the character, was found, came out in '72, when I think about it, and I think about the impact of what's going on right now, like, the world is ready for a bulletproof black man. And that scene, that was written by Kayla Cooper, I mean, it really illustrates the tone of the show. It's like, it's forward, it's fun, it's hard, it's got a 90s vibe, but at the same time is, very much today. And, I can't wait for you guys to see the rest of it.
Alfre, obviously people send you things all the time. And if you're someone of your stature and someone of your talent, but there was something about this material that kind of just meant something to you. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, when I picked this up, it was one of the smartest piece of writing that I had ever come across. And that's what I do. I follow the script. It's gotta be there. And so that's a tribute to Cheo's concept, Cheo's vision. He carried it all the way through. It was set in a place that I love, and we'll all probably talk about that, the fact that we all have numbers on the call sheet, but Harlem deserves a number on the call sheet as well. It is very much a character, and so we get all the cultural importance, the historical importance, the family, everything that made Harlem what it has been through the decades is there. It's there, and then you've got, an incredible, reluctant superhero, and you've got current turnover of what's happening. It's what's happening in Harlem now. It's something that's set in the Marvel Universe, but because the Marvel Universe is so realistically drawn, you feel like you can walk right into Harlem. And don't expect some brother to be blocking bullets once you get to Harlem, but that's how well it was done, and I wanted to be a part of it. I got excited reading it, so I knew by the time it stood up with all of these really amazing actors and people who are fun to hang out with, I just wanted to be invited to the party. I'm glad you invited me.
Cheo, a lot of people talk about the music. Tell us about how music plays such a huge role in what we're doing on this. I mean, it's not a musical, but no. It does have what you and I refer to a musicality.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I call the Wu-Tangification of the Marvel Universe. Meaning that it's got attitude, it's got flavor, it's got a grit, but it's elegant at the same time. One of the things that was really an influence was, well, first off, every single episode is named after a different Gang Starr song. And the reason for that is I wanted the 13 episodes to feel almost like an album. I mean, because back in the day, like when a Prince record came out, or, say, for example, something like Ice Cube's Death Certificate came out, you would shut things down and you would listen to the entire record. And so the only time we do that nowadays, thanks to streaming and everything else, is when you binge watch. It's like you just it's the only thing now beyond how records used to be where you sit down and then there's a rhythm to how everything is connected. And so that's really the thing about this show in particular. It's not just in terms of the music and, Ali, Shaheed Muhammad, and Adrian Young's incredible score and, and a lot of the music that we have, but also just in terms of the pace. I mean, the way that this thing fits together, episodes 1 through 13, it's relentless. And, man, it is what it is.
So, Mike, I think it's pretty safe to say that people around the world fell in love with you during Jessica Jones. earlier today we were talking about it, and what's really interesting about your character in Jessica Jones is that you really are seen through Jessica's POV.
Yeah.
There weren't Luke Cage scenes. There wasn't a Luke Cage world. And so and you knew when we started out that there was going to be a Luke Cage show. It wasn't like we planted a spin-off and took it out. Everybody knew that Luke and Jessica have a thing, and we wanted to be able to show the thing. But then we came to doing your show. So when we're doing Marvel's Luke Cage, tell us different about how you see your character and the world that you're living in when the story starts up again.
I think going back to what you said, the POV of Luke Cage through Jessica's eyes, Luke has his own problems, and I think if you watch Jessica Jones, he's hiding a lot of things in the closet, and he didn't care to find out too much about what Jessica was hiding because he didn't want to give too much away for himself. Well, eventually, you find a lot more information when you start watching Luke Cage, the series that we're going to show you on September 30th. There's so much backstory. There's so many things that...
I'm sorry, when is the show on?
Oh, was that a spoiler?
No, not a spoiler. I just like it when you say it.
September 30th?
September 30th.
September 30th, yeah.
Only on Netflix.
Only on Netflix. We have a lot of things in store for you guys, for the fanboys, for the people who just want to see some action. We have that for you. A little romance. I mean, it is, like Cheo said earlier, it's a drama first and foremost, and it's set in a superhero world. And I'm so proud of what we've done as a group, and I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Tell us a little bit about the complications of playing Cornell Stokes.
Oh, wow. It's just it was a really exciting experience to get to sit down and read this first script because I could hear the character, and for me, that's always a good sign. And I could tell that he had depth and that he was complicated in his own way, well-intended, but he was just somebody who went about things in a way that is probably different from the common person, including myself. So from day one, it was just this exploration to kind of always be digging to find the truth from his point of view. And it was just an amazing journey. Yeah, it really was.
It's an amazing performance, folks.
Thank you.
Theo, we talked a little bit about this earlier today, but
Hold on, Jeff.
Thank you. What's it like trying to act without your eyes? I mean, it may seem like a silly question, but to be in front of the camera and have to wear sunglasses most of the time, it is a real challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy because when this first came up, you start seeing it and then you go, wow, you never thought about it, acting without wearing sunglasses the whole time. How do you do that? Because everything's in your eyes, everything's in your face, everything's whatever. So what's funny is my research was Daredevil. I was watching what he was doing because he's wearing glasses and kind of never really looking at anybody. But so he was just, figuring it out. So that was kind of my first reference point. But, you could feel it, this whole world, with the characters, with everything. You feel it in so many different ways, and the glasses just make him way more shady. He is so shady. He's just shady in all ways, so it was pretty cool. It's a cool experience.
But Shades himself has sort of a way of looking at the world kind of like a chessboard, doesn't he? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about trying to get what?
I think he's the ultimate opportunist, is the way I would say it. He sees things in a very different way. He's always looking for a way to move forward. If he has to move sideways a little to get forward, he will. And whatever is going to bring him to that place, whatever train car he has to jump on, he will. And
He's kind of the little finger of Luke Cage.
it's good to be. For now. Let's see what happens next season on that show.
Simone.
Yeah.
Misty Knight is not an unknown character, but Misty Knight was an unknown character to you when we offered you the part. And as Cheo and I will first attest, you came in, you read, you left. We looked at each other and said, well, that's done. We don't really need to see anybody else for this part. Tell us about playing Detective Misty Knight.
You know, oh, thank you, girl. Clap it up. Thank you. When I first read the sides, you know, Marvel is very secretive. So there were these dummy sides. And I was like, this is dope. Like, this woman is funny. She's fiery. She's a little bit, you know, bold and brash. And then, of course, none of that was in the actual script. But this is this iconic woman who is so strong and self-assured and determined. And to see that, to see a woman who is her own person. She's not the wife. She's not the girlfriend. She is not somebody's side piece or sidekick. She is absolutely her own thing. And for all of the Misty Knight fans out there, you know, this show gives you everything you want with her and more. Like, it's insane, the stuff that I would read when I would look at the scripts every week and go, oh my God, you guys want me to do this? This is insane. Thank you so much. And then thanking God at the same time, because I'm like, how did they know that I knew how to do this? This is gonna be great. So it was a gift every single day.
And when we meet you, you're actually undercover. Like, we don't even know that you are Detective Misty Knight.
No.
No.
Misty ain't in her work clothes when you first meet her.
Cheo, that portrait on the wall has a particular significance to you. Can you tell us a little bit about that picture, which everybody was screaming for just when they saw it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Biggie, you know. I was fortunate enough to know him as a journalist back in the day when writing for Vibe. I was one of the first people to interview him and one of the last people to interview him. And that's the thing, was Big. He was such an incredible storyteller with his rhymes, but he also loved gangster movies. And so in a way, it was kind of an homage to him, but at the same time also kind of set the vibe of the kind of character that, you know, when Big would tell those stories, Cottonmouth kind of comes to a certain extent from that tradition. So, you know, it was just a natural fit. And plus, I mean, what Paul McGagan did in terms of framing that shot, it's iconic.